Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. The market bell has just rung, and today let's talk about this brand new way to short Jim Cramer's picks. I'm sure you guys know who Jim Cramer is and some of his recent and old picks. So let's talk about that. Also, let's talk about what's going on with Bitcoin and what's going on with Do Kwon. So let's get started. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and make sure you follow my other channels as well. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Man, I am tired this morning. I am tired. But life goes on. Show must go on. Looking at the US market, it looks like it wants to be flat at the opening right now. Which way will it go? I think the big thing right now that most people are worried about. We had several days of goodness, but yesterday's news about OPEC cutting back oil production, this kind of surprised people. It really surprised Joe Biden, who was very furious about this because he believes this is premature and not a good move. So I think a lot of investors are a little worried about what may happen if oil gets cut. Does that mean higher prices for many things? Quite possibly. So is this going to make inflation worse? Quite possibly. So is it going to make Jerome Powell more hawkish? Quite possibly. So that I think is the mindset of investors. They're trying to connect the dots, put two and two together, and overall this is not a good thing. Although, you know, it's a small cut, 2 million barrels per day. So it's not an enormous cut, but still it's a cut nevertheless. So yeah, so a lot of investors are waiting on this. I also saw this as nothing to do with anything really that I want to talk about, but it's very important because I saw the documentary on Uber about Kalanick and how he started it, and it's a very controversial start for Uber. I had no idea that this also happened. So the ex-Uber security chief hid the fact that there was a breach in 2016 of personal data from 57 million drivers and customers. But not only that, but he hid it. He hid this for a year. He made the hackers sign a form or disclosure saying that they didn't hack Uber and paid them $100,000 in Bitcoin. So not only did he not disclose, he made the hackers actually say they didn't hack Uber, and then he paid them secretly with Bitcoin. Yeah, this is the reason why. This is the reason why he's in a whole bunch of trouble right now with the FTC, because usually with security officers, well, if there's a security breach, that's it. But he went above and beyond to break the laws, basically. Just thought I'd bring that up. I guess it does relate to Bitcoin because he paid the hackers $100,000 in Bitcoin at the time in 2016. That's crazy though. $100,000 in Bitcoin in 2016. Man, that's a lot of Bitcoins right there if you think about it. All right. What else is going on? Well, of course, this. We know that Jim Cramer, who has recently gotten into crypto, and then turned sour against it really quick. Loved Bitcoin. Did a couple interviews with Pompliano, then said Bitcoin is the greatest thing ever. Then shortly afterwards, he said he sold all of his Bitcoin, and then he loved Ethereum after that. And then shortly after that, he was not too fond of Ethereum either. And as for stocks, he once upon a time said Coinbase was going to be absolutely fantastic, going to 600 or something. Then he turned sour on Coinbase, and then as soon as he did that, Coinbase stock went up. I mean, it was just wild, right? And that's just with crypto picks. Obviously, Jim Cramer has been around for a long time, many decades. I think most people chart his picks, and the way to really make money with his picks is to do the opposite or the inverse of what he suggests. So that is exactly what this new fund is all about. Inverse Cramer ETF S Jim. And there is a long Jim too, because if you have a short, you have to have a long. But this is just it's not a done deal. It's been submitted to the SEC by this company, Tuttle Capital Management, and basically it'll track like 20 to 25 of his recent picks, or I don't know if it's recent, but 20 to 25 of his picks, and basically it does what the name sounds. You could inverse Jim Cramer and his picks. That's wild. That's just really wild. So that's why I had to bring that up. But outside of that, outside of Jim Cramer, well, as for Bitcoin, Bloomberg Intelligence Mike McGlone still thinks that Bitcoin will outperform other assets when the economic tide turns, meaning that when we are finally out of the rut that we are in, right, what asset will do the best? Bitcoin. So that's pretty fantastic. He also does mention that he sees commodities appears to have peaked, and usually when that does, that means Bitcoin has found its bottom. Again, there's just a lot of info out there that point to Bitcoin having found the bottom already. So quite interesting. Even Bloomberg thinks so, and I don't disagree. I think that is 100% right, especially right now, especially when more and more people are learning and tuning in to what our governments are doing, and more people are going to turn to Bitcoin naturally. Also, this one talks about Bitcoin dominance hitting a 4-year low. And I have talked about this quite a lot before. Bitcoin dominance, in fact, is hovering around 40%. So that's actually a little bit higher than let's say, a week ago, around 39.2 or something like that. But overall, I think Bitcoin dominance being low is good for the entire market. That means everything else is strong, right? Very different than previous bottoms that we have experienced prior to this bottom. Every other bottom before, altcoins could not hold at all. Zero strength. And that's why Bitcoin dominance always shot up, but not this time. It's staying low. So it does show the maturity of the entire space, which is, of course, very positive. All right, what else is there? The EU announces ban against Russian crypto assets and services. Recently, Russia did allow, I think, for their international settlements, they did allow or included crypto to be used. So that's pretty good. I don't know how many countries are actually using crypto for payments and settlements and stuff like that. But the EU, of course, EU and the US is trying to put more sanctions on Russia. I don't know what else they can do. So they're banning against Russian crypto asset services. I'm not even sure what Russian crypto assets. They don't have their own digital ruble or anything. So I guess it's just whatever services that they have. Will this lead to another like tornado cash situation? Probably. But I don't know of any big services that's in Russia. But it's probably going to lead to something like that. But thought I'd mention that. What else is there? The most expensive 3 Arrow Capital NFTs to be liquidated. This will be very ugly, and here's why. 3 Arrows Capital, they spent money like it was nothing, right? So they bought some horrendous NFTs. They spent $35 million. Okay. Now, according to this analytics firm, the current portfolio is worth about $860,000. I bet you, when they try to liquidate all these silly NFTs like this one that sold for $3.5 million, or this one for $2.3 million, or this one for $2 million, or this one for $1.4 million, or this one for $1.1 million. I guarantee you when they try to liquidate these, they will get nothing. They will get nothing. Just like that very first Jack Dorsey tweet NFT, someone paid, I don't know, like $1 million for it. And then when they try to resell it, there was no bids. It'll be the same thing with these. Basically, this $35 million in NFTs, just chalk that up to zero. Like, literally no one's going to be paying anything for them. So that's the unfortunate thing here. Yeah, so anyways, just thought I'd bring that up. The creditors, if they're expecting to get anything out of this, they better think again, because they're not going to get anything. That's for sure. South Korea makes his first arrest in Terra's case. Not Do Kwon. They arrested some other employee named Yu, and he seems to be a close aide to Do Kwon, or he was a close aide to Do Kwon, and is accused of wash trading and inflating crypto prices. Interesting. So, does that mean Do Kwon is going to get arrested for the same reasons? I don't know. Maybe there's more. But right now, they have ordered him to return his passport in 14 days. And if he doesn't, they will basically make sure that he can never get it again and never reapply. But if he's going to jail anyways, then you know, then he probably doesn't have to worry about that. I don't know, but he's still on Twitter claiming that he's not on a run. No one's looking for him. He's still taking daily strolls, and he didn't try to cash out $70 million to like KuCoin and OKX. You know, it's just a matter of time that someone really finds him and hunts him down. Let's see. 3 euros cap, not 3 euros, Celsius. So it gets worse. It was reported recently that Alex Minczynski cashed out $10 million right before they went bankrupt, but other executives also did. In fact, in total, over $50 million in crypto was withdrawn before bankruptcy. So it's obvious that these guys, these 3 top guys, excuse me, knew that they were going to go under, and they withdrew a ton of cash before the collapse, right? I would say that's illegal. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. So, I mean, anyways, this is not looking good. Someone said Alex did some kind of Twitter live yesterday or something like that. I didn't look that up. I would like to see what he said yesterday. And then lastly, what is it? Voyager update. Supposedly, FTX will be giving back 70% of people's assets. So that's better than expected. So bottom line is, if you had, like, let's say $1,000 worth of crypto, you'll get $700 back if you start a FTX.US account. That's what it sounds like. But unfortunately, they're not trying to do anything with VGX. So if you do own VGX, you're not going to get much. They're trying to buy all the VGX in circulation for $10 million, which of course is pennies on a dollar. So I don't even know what VGX is at 53 cents. It's at 147 million market cap. They're trying to buy this for 10 million, so less than 10%, right? So that means if you have $1,000 in Voyager tokens, if they buy it, you'll get back like $80 or something like that. So not a whole lot, but a 70% looks good. At least you could get possibly 70% of your crypto back with FTX. So that's somewhat of a win. It's not zero. And what else is there? Golden Tree reveals 5.3 million stake in Sushi Swap. Just the other day, someone was asking me about Sushi Swap, right? So it's kind of interesting that we have this asset management firm that has about 50 billion of assets under management. They decided to invest in Sushi Swap, not Uniswap, not Pancake Swap, not any swap, but Sushi Swap. Sushi Swap had its controversial times, but they believe in them. Interesting. But then, then again, being a DEX, right? Should you really get investments from institutions? Because then you're not really decentralized. Now you're taking orders from institutions, right? So then you're not really decentralized. So I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I don't know now that I think about it, I don't know if this is actually a good thing or not. Hopefully not all DEXs go down this route. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's see here. Hey, the market flipped to green. That's good. Very positive. Bank of England says pension funds were hours from disaster before interview. Wow. I think this is what they were referring to when they said they had to intervene because bonds were so out of control. And I think a lot of pension funds, somehow they were tied to those bonds. That's why they had to step in. Yeah, it says here, according to a massive sell-off of UK government bonds, known as gilts, following the government's fiscal policy. Yeah, so I think a lot of pension funds bought in on those bonds, and those bonds are selling off like mad, and that's why Bank of England is stepping. Yeah. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. I mean, so far, as screwed up as the U.S. is, all these things that's coming out of England, UK, seem to be worse. I don't know what you Brits do, how you're handling things. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right. Excuse me. Is my microphone really quiet? People keep saying that it's quiet. I didn't really change anything to my microphone. I could louden it, but you guys tell me. Let's see. I scroll up. Let's see. One thing I will say about Jim Cramer is how good his new Mad Money set looks. It looks fantastic. He had his old Mad Money show, his old set for I don't know how many years, so many years, and now his new one is amazing. I plan on making my new studio that amazing too. Let's see. Hello. All right, I made my sound louder. Hello. Hopefully that helps. All right. Much better? Okay, good. I just upped the thing. If I sell Cardano today that I bought at 180 and buy right back within a minute, can I show the loss on my taxes this year? Yeah, wash trading is still open for crypto. So yes, as long as you don't sell it again by the end of the year, yeah, that's called wash trading. We need a CryptosRUs cruise. Yeah, I remember when they had that crypto cruise like a few years ago. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing. but a lot of influencers went on. I don't know, they were all invited or what, but it was a really weird thing. What are the key things you'd like to see in the next 3 to 5 years to advance Bitcoin? I don't know. I like to see some of the uncertainty with regulations, with the SEC. You know, I want to see some of those things kind of hammered out, right? Which agency is actually going to be the watchdog? What's considered a security, right? What do exchanges and wallet makers, what kind of KYC they need to comply with? You know, some of these things just seems like it's just kind of up in the air right now. I like to see these things solidified, not just in the U.S. but around the world, and then that will definitely help Bitcoin and crypto mature going forward. But I don't know, 3 to 5 years may be too soon. We may not see any of these things solidified until like 10 years down the road. Moonwalker, that is exactly right. I like Near. I just covered Near yesterday. They formed some kind of relationship with Google Cloud. So Near is like a mini Solana. Are you a fan of 370Zs? Might be getting one as a project. I never looked at a 370Z. 350Z on the other hand, I've looked at a lot before. The old 300ZX also. 370Z never really paid attention to it. I just thought it was too blah. Looks like a fish. The front end looks like a fish. If you're getting one as a project, sure. I'm sure you could do some nice things with it. I don't know. Like, if you were to go get a project car, I'd say just get a, for that, I don't know. Like, if I was going to get a project car, like, within that kind of, those years, and something within that price range, I would probably get, like, a Mustang instead. A lot more parts, way more parts, cheaper, not, and you get a lot more performance. Like, I would just go with a Shelby Cobra or something like that, or if you remember the old Terminator Cobras, I forgot what they were called, like the 0304 ones, the supercharged ones. I mean, there's some good Mustangs you could really mod the hell out of. I'm stuck in my IT job until next bull run. Would you pick Azure or AWS for new certification? I'm biased. I've always been a Microsoft guy, and I've always stuck with Azure. But I know Azure had a rough start versus AWS, and AWS is still the big powerhouse. So near term, AWS certification will definitely help you a lot more. Long term, I think AWS will lose to Azure. Microsoft is just too big. Microsoft's sole business is cloud. Cloud. And over the last few years, they have made tremendous push into cloud. Basically, anyone using any kind of Microsoft product in the enterprise and the workspace is using Office 365 or Azure. And of course, you could do virtualization and backup, disaster recovery, and everything, storage with Azure. It was expensive before. I think prices probably have come down now. This was like 4 or 5 years ago when Azure was still very early, but I'm pretty sure it matured a lot more now. So I think you can't go wrong with either, but AWS probably short term will help you more. Long term, I definitely think Azure will help you more. Annie Wayne, I got an Alfa Romeo Stelvio. That's the SUV, right? I did test that before. I wasn't too fond of it. Alfa Romeos drive really nice. They drive like, I think they're, they drive like Italian sports car basically, but I don't know, just didn't impress on me too much. I don't know if you're getting something else while you're considering. When do you think the peak of the bull run will be? The peak will probably be in 2025, a year after 2024, the next halving event. Tanner, I just covered Voyager news. Scroll back a little bit. Yeah, the 3.7 liter and the 370Z. Plus, it's natural. It's natural aspirated with very high compression. So even if you're trying to boost it, you're not gonna get much. You just have to put some nitrous, I guess. But if you want to like, it's still a nice car, I'm sure. And if you want to do, say, drifting or something, I'm sure 370Z will do very well. It just depends, I guess, what you're into. Like me personally, I much rather work on a Mustang than a 370Z. My company just moved from AWS to Azure. Yeah, it makes sense. Microsoft reps, I used to deal with the reps all the time. They're so smart about getting you to move to them because they give you discounts. For example, like an enterprise license for, let's say, an Office 365 user was like $10, right? And then they're like, okay, you want to move your email over to the cloud to do Exchange online? And you're like, no, not really. Sounds like a lot of work. But they're like, oh, but it's only like $2 extra for a user. And then as a company, you're like, okay, $2 a user times how many users times 12? Well, that only comes out to be, a few $100s or a few $1,000s. But if you're purchasing Exchange itself with maintenance, that's tens of thousands of dollars. So why would you not do it, right? And then after you add that in, they're like, oh, okay, yeah. Do you wanna move your Hyper-V environment to Azure? And it'll cost this. And they keep giving you more and more discounts. So as an enterprise, you can't say no because it's so beneficial for you to take their offer. So there's no doubt they're pushing everyone to Azure. So I think it's gonna be huge. I don't think Amazon can compete with that in the future. I think, yeah, Amazon's bread and butter is not AWS. They kind of fell into it by accident, and it has worked out really well. But Microsoft is 100% in cloud, and there's no way that they're going to let that go. Cramer coin is up 50%. Let's see here. What's the market at? Oh man, I thought we were even. Now we're down a little bit. Bitcoin is still holding above 20,000, so that's positive. At prices low, is it risky to take profits? It's never a bad time to take profits. So lock in gains, right? But right now, very little people have profits to lock in. But if you're selling for the sake of selling, you have to realize that you are selling at a very low point. We are much closer to bottom than we are to top. But you can sell and buy back in if you want to tax harvest, right? You can do that wash trading. How will BTC measure when USD collapse? It won't. You won't need to measure it. Everything will be measured against Bitcoin. Think about that. Wrap your head around that. Bitcoin right now is measured against the dollar. What if one day everything else is measured against Bitcoin? How would that look? Right? Think about that. GSF, man, that car no one bought. No one bought a GSF. The GS was just like a silly car It didn't make any sense. Silver is the future? I'm sorry, Kelly. No, I don't believe silver is the future. All right. By the way, I am working on a nice car video for you guys. Not a review video, but one that kind of explains why prices are so high, what to expect, you know, how we got here and stuff like that. Kind of like the housing market video. Going to create something like that for you guys for this weekend. So look forward to that. I know a lot of you guys do care about cars, so you might find that interesting. All right, guys. Oops, I don't know why I just muted myself. All right, to conclude, I was saying, yeah, we have a Jim Cramer inverse ETF, and we have Bitcoin, and many are still sticking with Bitcoin and believe that we have found the bottom. Let's see. I do believe long term there's nothing that can outperform Bitcoin, so you just have to stay strong, be patient, and hodl. All right. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.